check my hair, make sure it's okay, because I've just been laid down. Right, good afternoon, everybody. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, this is a dark one. This is bad. This is dark. It's official. Humanity is the closest to the end. We are the closest to the end of human civilization. We are closer to nuclear Armageddon than we have ever been before. We are closer to doomsday than we have ever been before. What am I talking about? Well, the doomsday clock. I'll just read this real quick. So this was an article released today. I'm not going to share it because there's ads everywhere. But this was an article released today from the Daily Mail. Doomsday clock moves forwards. So for those of you guys who don't know, the doomsday clock is basically it's a hypothetical, it's a clock basically, it's a visualization. And that clock, when it gets to midnight, that's doomsday. And right now, we are closer, humanity is closer to doomsday than we've ever been before. Now, this is exacerbated by the conflict in Ukraine, by the war, by the conflicts in the Middle East and the tensions in the Middle East. You've got biohazards, you've got AI, you've got cyber attacks. You've got, and they're not saying this, but this is me saying this, mass migration into the West, and it's only happening to white countries. It is. Like, it's only happening to white countries, guys. Like, have you guys seen these, have you guys seen these marchers on, what's it called? In South Africa, right? You've got these guys on the stage saying, like, do bad things to the Boer, do bad things to the farmer, the white man, brah, 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 pow, pow. You've seen that, right? Because, those people are saying that the Dutch settlers, the white South Africans, are not welcome there. That's not their land. Okay, fine. Nobody complains about that, right? Okay, absolutely fine. The liberals in America are saying, and around the world are saying that America isn't, even though white Americans have been in America for 500 years, they're saying that's not their land. The land belongs to the Native Americans, which is, it's absolutely fine. It's absolutely fine for people to have that opinion, but you have to, you can't just have that opinion on one spot, right? You can't just have that opinion on one spot, because it does seem that even though all that is true, it's also true that a Somalian who turns up in America is just as American as somebody whose family's been there for 500 years. It does seem that if somebody turns up to the United Kingdom from Bangladesh, and they have a British passport, then of course, who would I listen, guys? Who would I to go against what the government are saying? Somebody who turns up from Bangladesh and has a British passport now, they are just as British as me. Absolutely. That's what people are saying. Even though you can trace my family lineage back to the 11th century in the United Kingdom. Yes, we were both migrants. My family were both migrants. We came over from France. We did. We came over from France in the 11th century and we settled in northern England. And my family's heritage goes back a long way. So anyway, right, let me get on to this, ladies and gentlemen. So I'm going to start with my opening monologue. The doomsday clock has been moved forwards today, and we are closer. Humanity is closer than we've ever been to doomsday. That's not me making it up, guys. I'm not making it up. That is official now. Humanity is closer to doomsday than we have ever been before. So let me start with this opening monologue. I am on TikTok, so I'm going to have to mind my P's and Q's. So I'll do this twice, okay? Dva. Or Odin Dva. Or Wahed Nien. Thnien. It's a weird name. Two in Arabic is Thnien, and it's a weird word to pronounce. So I'll do this opening monologue twice, all right? I'll do it while you guys on TikTok are watching, and then I will do it once I've closed you guys down on TikTok. I'll do it again, and I won't be so restrictive with my P's and Q's. So gather around, ladies and gentlemen, because we are not out of January yet. No, we are not. We are still in January. And think of all the crazy shenanigans that have happened. So over at the Bulletin for Atomic Scientists, they've just wound the doomsday clock forwards, meaning we are now at 85 seconds. 85 seconds to midnight. And when it gets to midnight, it's diddly swizzle for everybody. It's everybody getting those alert messages on their phone saying, you've got 10 minutes. Like, that's it. Do what you can. I wonder what that message is. You know, I really do. I wonder what that message is, because we all know that that message is somewhere, right? Do you think somewhere someone's just got a message saying, if everything goes wrong, we're going to send out the whole population a message saying, you've got 10 minutes. We're sorry we didn't build any bunkers. We're sorry we've not prepared you, but what are you going to do? Vote for us at the next election. Can you imagine that, right? Nuclear Armageddon, right? Nuclear Armageddon. Just listen, I'm going off on a sidetrack here. I'm going off on a total side quest. For entertainment purposes. This is for entertainment purposes, ladies and gentlemen. This is not true. This is absolutely not true, all right? This is for entertainment purposes. Can you imagine, right, if we end up in a scenario where Keir Starmer gets us into a nuclear war, we get absolutely bombarded, we get swizzled, there's all sorts of crazy stuff going off, right? And then Keir Starmer emerges with his little head, and he's like, and everybody's like, yeah, we don't want you as the government. We're going to revolt. We're going to revolt. And he's like, no. You've got to vote. And we're all there having to vote. Like, all in his like burnt clothes, going to the elections in his burnt clothes and his hair. Has anyone got a bottle of water? I don't know. Just vote for reform. I don't know. Rupert Lowe, where's he? I'm going to write Rupert Lowe on the bottom and tick that box. That's where we'd be, right? That's where we'd be. But listen, let me put my serious face on. So we are the humanity that wherever you are on the world, in the world, on the world, outside the world, humanity is the closest to doomsday. We are the closest to nuclear Armageddon that we have ever been. Just contextualize that for like 5 seconds. We are closer now to nuclear Armageddon, as per this metric, than we were at the height of the Cuban Missile Crisis, at the height of the Cold War. Think about that for 5 seconds. Just let that sink in, right? So we are 85 seconds to midnight. I know there's an Iron Maiden song called 2 Minutes to Midnight, and I do have it on the running machine when I'm on my headphones when I'm running. So that's it. 1 minute and 25 seconds from the end of everything. Closer than it's ever been before. Closer than when America and the USSR, the United States of Soviet Russia, were testing atom bombs, and they were firing, they were having test fires. It's closer than the Cuban Missile Crisis, when Kennedy and Khrushchev had us all hiding under our desks, when the British V-Force were on the runway with the engines running, with the mission to take out Eastern Europe. We're closer now than we were then. Think about that, right? At the height of the Cuban Missile Crisis, honestly, look, I don't want to, I've talked about this before. I know my history. I really do. At the height of the Cuban Missile Crisis, that for me is the end of the Soviet. Anyway, I'm not going to go into that. At the height of the Cuban Missile Crisis, when Khrushchev was sending the Russian fleet to Cuba with missiles, Kennedy had put in a demarcation zone and said, right, you go past there, we're going to sink you. Khrushchev had said, right, you sink us, we're going full nuclear. Kennedy had said, let's rock this smoky gun wagon. At that time, Britain had the Victor, the Valiant, and the Vulcan aircraft. That was our nuclear deterrent. Fantastic airplanes, the best airplanes the world had ever seen. Beautiful bombers. The Vulcan bomber, guys. Honestly, like that thing it's just beautiful. Like it's just beautiful. And what it represents, what the Vulcan bomber represents, the Vulcan bomber represents the last defense of a dying empire. So at that time, at the height of the Cuban Missile Crisis, there was all these airplanes, right? And they were on the runways all over the United Kingdom, the Victor, the Valiant, and the Vulcan. They were on the runways, ready to go, right? With the engines running and fuel being poured into the fuel tanks. And they got told, if they get the green light, they knew their targets, they were going to just take out Eastern Europe. The whole of Eastern Europe, they were going to take it to the candy shop. The Americans in their slower bombers were going to come over the North Pole and they were going to destroy Russia. We were that's where we were at the height of the Cuban Missile Crisis. One wrong calculation, but don't worry, we are closer to midnight now than then. That's what this metric is telling us, guys. Okay, that's that's what this metric is telling us. At that metric, we were 2 minutes to midnight. Right now, we are 1 minute 25 to midnight. It's a luxury compared to this. So you guys can remember the Cold War. Britain was right in the middle with our bases, our stiff upper lip, staring down the Iron Curtain. There was something called mutually assured destruction. MAD, M-A-D. Now, in that context, there were two main superpowers, the East and the West, the Russians and the Americans. And we were obviously part of the America. We were Team America, as we will always be. Regardless to what all these politicians say, we're always going to be Team America. Or they're always going to be Team GB. Now, the world as it is now, it's an absolute free-for-all. We don't just have two superpowers, right? We still have Russia rattling sabers in Ukraine. Putin's team, the red team, I guess, are suspended arms treaties like they're yesterday's fish and chip wrappers. We've got North Korea firing off rockets that could reach London. I mean, maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. We've got Iran are enriching their uranium while the Middle East simmers like a pot about to boil over. And they're just the country, and let's not forget China, and they're just the countries with nuclear weapons. Now, if you throw in climate change, floods in the Midlands, floods today, wildfires, and suddenly we're just not frying the planet. We're also arming it with AI that could hack our systems, hack our grids, create bioweapons in labs. Well, let's not pretend that can't happen, ladies and gentlemen. Let's not pretend that bioweapons can't be produced in labs and accidentally escape. We are 85 seconds. That is less time than it takes to make a cup of tea. It is less time it takes to make a cup of tea. And the bulletin says this is the worst, this is the darkest, this is the biggest threat we have ever faced. These are scientists, Nobel Prize winners, not tabloids. This is not coming from the tabloid. This is not coming from the BBC or CNN or somebody wanting for clickbait. This is from scientists and experts who've done data analysis. They look at the data, cyber attacks that could cripple any number of institutions, NHS, the tube, pandemics. We could literally have pandemics that are engineered in garages. Fake news spreading faster than the truth. During the Cold War, there was a brinkmanship, right? There was, in the Cold War, there was communication. There was us and them. Right now, everything's up for grabs. Here in the United Kingdom, we are clearly not immune. We have our own Trident submarines on patrol in the seas. With budgets squeezed and allies fraying, would we be ready? Would we be ready in the United Kingdom to fight full-scale nuclear war? I don't think we would. I don't think we would. Is NATO as strong as people think it is? NATO Article 5, an attack on one member state is deemed an attack on all member states. I've told you guys how that means absolutely nothing. It's not worth the paper it's written on. Donald Trump, across the pond, he's questioning commitments. He's questioning those commitments. He's saying, we've never needed NATO, but would they be there for us? We don't know. We don't know. We've always been there for them, but would they be there for us? We don't know. We don't know. We've got China looking at Taiwan like the next domino. One wrong move, one wrong calculation, and it is kaboom. It's Armageddon. I'm not talking about some Hollywood film with Bruce Willis. And what's the elf's name? The girl who played the elf? The guy from Aerosmith. I don't know her name. Aerosmith's girl's daughter. This is like real stuff now. We are closer right now to nuclear Armageddon than we ever were, even at the height of the Cold War. And if that doesn't make anybody panic, I don't know what does. I'm not saying it's time to panic buy toilet roll just yet, but I think people need to understand where we are and where we are moving towards, because that's not me speculating. That's not my analysis. And that's not my, they're not my words, right? What I'm saying is the scientists, the boffins, the people with letters after their names, they've come out officially and they have said we are closer to doomsday than we have ever been before. And people don't notice. Like, nothing in the mainstream media in the United Kingdom is communicating this. It's absolutely bonkers. Right, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are on and you've not done so already, please like, comment, subscribe, share my stuff. I am streaming on YouTube. I am streaming on TikTok. I will be closing you guys down on TikTok pretty soon. I'm going to be closing you guys down on TikTok pretty soon. Caroline X has joined and Kelly liked the live. Eloise has joined. So's Cotto. Thank you guys on the TikTok. Right, let me jump over and get some comments on. I'm going to jump over to YouTube and get some comments. Good evening, everyone. David King is saying, I will be serious. I know it's crazy sending weapons to hit Russia, but crackpots are in charge. Crackpots are indeed in charge. Not only crackpots, but crackpots who don't know what they're doing. Those who don't understand history are doomed to repeat it, as they always have throughout the history of recorded history, historically. Lewis Ackers is saying, I think it's all going to be conventional, no mushrooms other than the wonderful fly agaric. I don't know what fly agaric is. I'm sure it tastes lovely. I don't look. At the end of this, I'm gonna tell you guys what I think, and I've not changed my mind. So for those of you guys who've been following for a while, you guys know what I'm talking about. I do think the threat is real. I do think nuclear weapons are real. Although whether they're going to be used or not in what context, at the end of this live stream, I'll give you guys my triggers to look out for. Donna is saying, independent Britain must get war ready and can no longer rely on the United States, MP say. I think he's absolutely right. I do. I think he's absolutely right. Or whoever said that. And I don't think that's like, I don't think we, you know what, I'm going to read, you know what, I think, where's Donna's comment gone? Right. So Donna, so I'll put this back up again. So Donna is saying, from the Independent, Britain must get war ready and can no longer rely on the United States. I don't think we should rely on the United States. I think it's a little bit gay to rely on the United States. I do. I think it's pretty gay to rely on the United States. I think we should not rely on the United States. And if we don't rely on the United States, everybody becomes stronger for it, right? Everybody becomes stronger. If we can stand on our own 2 feet without asking Uncle Sam. And I've said this for a long, long time. As Europeans, we need to pull our big boy pants on and deal with this threat ourselves, because the United States are going to be too busy in the Middle East. Trevor is saying, I'm only 50. He's 50 years young. And I can clearly see what's coming this year and worse in 27. Be proactive now or it's gone. Forget waiting for your vote. It means nothing anymore. Trevor, you know what, Trevor? If we could condense that to a t-shirt, forget waiting for your vote. It means nothing. I agree, mate. I absolutely agree. You know, that's all we get to do, right? I did a video earlier and I was talking about Spain. Let me take this down. So I did a video earlier and I was talking about Spain. And I think today Spain are passing. And let me get this up. Actually, I think I can share this with you. Give me a second. Yeah. So I can actually share this with you. So today Spain are passing a new law where they are going to legalize hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants. So in a surprise, for you guys on TikTok, I'm sharing this on YouTube. So if you want to jump over to YouTube and get into the party, it's totally up to you. I'm a Real Raven 1 on YouTube. I'm sharing shit. It's going to be fantastic. I'm going to be closing you guys down before the YouTube guys. So if you want to jump over, that's absolutely great. But if you don't, that's cool as well. So from the Associated Press, in a surprise move, Spain will grant legal status to thousands of immigrants lacking permission. So I'm going to close this down and then I'm just going to read it, and because there's loads of ads. Barcelona, Spain, AP. Spain's government announced Tuesday, today, it will grant legal status to hundreds of thousands of illegal migrants living in Spain without authorization. I'm not making that up, guys. I'm not making that up. The latest way the country has bucked a trend towards increasingly harsh immigration policies imposed in the United States and much of Europe. The extraordinary measure will be implemented by expediting a decree to amend immigration laws, according to Spanish Minister of Migration, Elma Saiz. I think I'm pronouncing that right. Bypassing a similar bill that has installed in Parliament earlier. So what they're basically doing is they're like in Spain. They are letting, depending where you look, some people are saying it's between 500,000 and 800,000 illegal migrants in Spain. What they're saying is, right, you guys are now legal. That's it. We're just making it legal. So, when Trevor Pritchard is saying forget waiting for your vote, it means nothing, right? Can you imagine? Just imagine it now, guys, right? This headline. Imagine this in a headline, right? Okay, right. Guys, listen, just please bear with me, right? Okay, bear with me, right? Please just think about this. All of you, right? Please, all of you just think about this, right? Imagine this headline. In a surprise move, Britain, for entertainment purposes, this is just a hypothetical scenario. Imagine this headline. In a surprise move, Britain will grant legal status to thousands of illegal migrants to reduce backlogs. Okay, right. Imagine that headline, right? Imagine you're seeing that. What are you going to do? Right now, what are you going to do? Literally, what would you do? Think about it. Just think about it. What would you do if that headline hit the news right now? And Keir Starmer, it's gone through law. It's gone through everything. Straight away, 500,000 illegal migrants. They're now British citizens. They've got British passports. They're just as British as me. They are just, if maybe even more British. I don't know. I mean, I can only trace my family back to the 11th century. So, they're just maybe even more British. What are you going to do? I'll tell you what you're going to do. Absolutely nothing. Do you know why you're going to do nothing? Because there is nothing you can do. Yeah, you might vote at the next election. And what? In 2029? How many more people do you think are going to be British citizens by then? Okay, so you're going to go and peacefully protest. Okay. We've peacefully protested, and the government is still doing it. Right, okay. I'm going to peacefully protest. Well, I'm going to write a really well-written letter to my local MP. Yeah, if it even gets read. Just think about it, guys. What would you do? And it comes back to the tropes I've been saying until I'm blue in the absolute face. What legal framework do we have in the United Kingdom to oppose a tyrannical government? We have none, because we don't have a constitution. We don't. I defy anyone to debate me that we have a constitution in the United Kingdom. We don't. So, as As Trevor's saying there, forget waiting for your vote. It means nothing. And it absolutely does, guys. It means nothing. Your vote means nothing. It really does. Some people, I remember the old conspiracy theorists saying, if voting meant anything, they wouldn't let you do it. And, maybe I think there's a lot of truth in that. Right, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys are on and you've not done so, make sure you hit those buttons down below. The like, comment, subscribe, all that sort of stuff. So JHHHHJJJ hyphen Foxtrot 3 X-ray is saying Iran goes out and protests in England. They're their country back. We go out and protest, and we get all the people coming from Iran. I think what he's saying there is we have lots of travel advisory. We have lots of travel advisory warnings in the United Kingdom to not go to a lot of countries, right? But it does seem that those countries are perfectly fine. Are perfectly fine coming to the United Kingdom, which is interesting. I don't know what that would be. Philip Gray is saying, hang on. Right, I'm not going to repeat that. Right, I'm just going to jump. What else have we got? Louise Gethin is saying that leadership of countries now has different but normal people, mostly are just normal people wherever they're from. Right, listen, guys. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna give you guys the headlines because I've got some other things to talk about. I've got some videos to share with you guys. I've got another video because you know what? It's not even a video. Right. Right, let me try and share this. How do I do it? Give me a second, because what I need to do is I need to refresh this screen. So I need to press that one. Right, because you guys need to see this headline. So I'm going to refresh it. I'm going to go that one. I'm going to go that one. I'm going to go that one. And maybe I can get this without the ads. Yes. Shabana Mahmood admits 300 migrants have come to Britain from France under the one-in, one-out deal, but only 281 have left. You guys saw that headline, right? So, this new deterrent. This new deterrent that the government put. Look, guys, you've got no idea how bad things are, right? You've got no idea, like the numbers. The numbers are so bad. So Shabana Mahmood, when they trolled it and saying that's why this government have signed a historic deal with France to deport hundreds of thousands, millions of people who shouldn't be here. Turns out, under that scheme, we're actually taking more people than we're sending back. So, like at best, the one-in, one-out scheme was going to be nothing, right? The one-in, one-out scheme was going to be nothing. It actually turns out it's a positive influx into by positive, I mean it's positive numbers of migration into the United Kingdom. Shabana Mahmood admits 350 migrants have come to Britain. Honestly, you might as well laugh about it. You might as well laugh because it is funny. Shabana Mahmood admits 350 migrants have come to Britain from France under Labour's one-in, one-out scheme, but only 281 have left. I don't know, guys. Even with Raven maths, that doesn't seem right. The number of migrants brought into Britain under Labour's one-in, one-out deal with France is 25% higher than the total who've been removed. Home Secretary Shabana Mahmood confirmed 281 small boat migrants have been deported back to France. But so far, 350 other migrants have been admitted from France into the United Kingdom by the Home Office. So, how is this a deterrent? It's not a deterrent, is it? It's not a deterrent. It's just an open doors policy. It's just absolutely open doors. And every time, we're going to smash the gangs. How are you going to smash them, Kia? by making them legal, and then they won't be illegal. What? We are going to make gangs illegal, and we're going to fund them with NGOs. That way, they won't be illegal, and they'll stop doing illegal stuff. Hang on a minute. So let me get this right. For entertainment purposes, you are going to change the law to make the crime legal, and by doing so, you've eradicated crime? Yes. Oh, interesting. I like your style. Listen, it's a cunning plan. It sounds like something like Dr. Evil would do. I miss those movies. I do. I miss the 90s, guys. I went to watch... what's the one with Mini-Me? The one with Mini-Me. I went to watch that one at the pictures. Honestly, I've never laughed as much in my life. Never. I don't think I've ever laughed as much in my life. Right, and also, I was talking like a while ago about 15-minute cities. Oh, hang on. David King is saying French-making books selling dinghies. Right, okay. I need to pull everybody up on this. I need to pull everybody up on this, right? Hang on. Right, guys, if you're going to spam, I'm just going to put you in permanent timeout, okay? So, homeless Batman created or something, just stop doing those messages. Like, I'll leave you on. If you got something to say it. It's absolutely fine. But if you're just going to put a load of stuff like that, I'll just put you in permanent timeout. Right, where's the last comment I was... Oh, I've missed my comment now. Ah, there we are. So, David King is saying French-making books from selling dinghies. Right, look. Unlike a lot of people, unlike a lot of people on the internet who are just talking about stuff they've got no experience in, I went to northern France and I saw this firsthand myself. I did. I was out there in northern France. I was looking at this firsthand. I was in the migrant camps. I was in the migrant camps. I was in the towns around there. I was in the countryside. I was streaming. You've got to put this into context, right? First of all, I don't think the French are making money from selling rubber dinghies. I think these rubber dinghies are being recycled. If you put yourself in the French, with regards to migration, if you put yourself in the French situation, right? In fact, you know what? I'm going to get a live band. You guys on TikTok, you've got 2 minutes, right? 2 minutes on TikTok, and I'll be closing you guys down, and I will just be continuing this live stream on YouTube. So 2 minutes, maybe 1 minute and a bit now, and then I'll be closing this guy. I'll be closing you guys down, and I'm just going to be streaming on. I'm just going to be streaming on YouTube because I'm going to be saying things that would get me banned. So I'm the Real Raven 1 on YouTube. I'm the Real Raven 1 on X. Please go and show your support. So David King, I'm going to try and answer this without using inflammatory words. Right? Can you imagine, David King? Imagine, if you will, good sir, that you are a French police officer, right? You're not getting paid. All this money that we're sending to France, 17 million, 50 million, 100 million. That's not going to those French police officers. They're still getting their box standard rate, right? And they are responsible for the French people. They're not responsible for the British people. They're not. That's the reality, all right? And I absolutely 100% respect that. I do. I wouldn't expect... Well, we probably would. I wouldn't expect Britain to go over to France and start policing. I wouldn't. I would want British police to police on British soil, right? So imagine if you're a French police officer, right? And you've got just say a random group of men made a camp somewhere. And then the crime rate went up in that region. And you can't do anything. You literally can't do anything. And the more men go in that camp, the higher the crime rate goes. Just hypothetically, let's just pretend that happens. If 1,000 of those men wanted to leave one day on boats and, go across the seas and find finer pastures, what would you do? Would you say, no, you have to stay here? Absolutely not. And from going out to France and seeing this firsthand myself, I'm not critical of the French anymore, guys. The French are dealing with a difficult problem like we are. so. And they do fantastic beer as well. They do some fantastic beer in France. Right, you guys on TikTok, I'm closing you guys down now. I do apologize. I'll be back on tomorrow morning at 10. Yes, I will be back on tomorrow morning at 10. If you want to continue the party, see me with a carbonated drink. If I can find my glass. See me look for my glass, right? Find a carbonated drink and then continue the party. You're most welcome. But if not, I will see you guys at 10. I'm the Real Raven 1 on YouTube, and I hope to see you there. Paka paka, dobro noche. How would you say it in Arabic? How would you say it in Arabic? You would say sabak al noon? That doesn't sound right. Sabak al khair? I don't know. Whatever. Good night. Why would you say? I don't even know. I've totally gone. Languages are very perishable skills. Right. Let me jump over to some chat questions and then I will go through my opening monologue again. Yes, I will, ladies and gentlemen, because Doomsday, nuclear Armageddon, it's official. Humanity is closer to the end than ever before. That's not me making it up, ladies and gentlemen. That is from the what's it called? The atomic clock, the Doomsday atomic clock. The Bulletin of Atomic Scientists, they've come out now and they have put the Doomsday clock forward. So just for context, if you guys don't know what we're talking about, the Doomsday clock is a symbolic metric in the form of a clock maintained by the Bulletin of Atomic Scientists since 1947. It represents how close humanity is to absolute global catastrophe, doomsday. And midnight is symboling said doomsday, based on threats like nuclear war, climate change, biological risks, disruptive technologies such as artificial intelligence and cyber warfare. The hands are adjusted annually by a panel of experts. Not me. I'm not on that panel, unfortunately. I put it a lot closer. One of the things that they're not mentioning, though, and I don't know if this would be a contributing factor, is mass migration. I do think mass migration is going to drive us into doomsday. I do. Right. Let me go and get a drink, and then I'll come back and we'll talk about this again, where I don't have to TikTok my words. David King is saying it's a World Economic Forum clock. Is it? I don't know. 3 minutes. We're less than 3 minutes. We are 1 minute 25. We are literally 1 minute 25. Hang on. Right. Give me a second. I'll get a drink and I'll come back. Colin is saying it's pronounced nuclear. It's pronounced nuclear. I don't know. Are you from America where you pronounce things like vehicle? Hey, Sean, you got any tires for the vehicle? What's a vehicle, JR? Sean, it's got a H in it. It's vehicle. JR, mate, I love you, but it's vehicle. Sean, it has a H in it. It's vehicle. JR, it's English. I'm English. I absolutely know. It's my birthright to make up words. Damned Doberman is saying, I'm so middle class, I live in a council house with a working class curb to keep it real. Right, let me go on my opening monologue again, ladies and gentlemen, because the word is out. Doomsday is here. We are closer than we have ever been to nuclear Armageddon. It's official. It's not me speculating. It's not my analysis. Humanity is now closer to the end than we have ever been before in recorded history. We are closer now than at the height of the Cuban Missile Crisis. So let me try and run through this as quickly as I can. scientists at the the Bulletin of the Atomic Scientists have just wound the doomsday clock forwards again. We are 85 seconds to midnight. No, that's not an Iron Maiden song. It's close, but it's 35 seconds away. And that's it. 1 minute and 25 seconds to the end of everything. Closer than we have been in it ever. We are closer to the end than ever. Closer to the, closer to at the height of the Cuban Missile Crisis. Now, if anybody understands, can like understand the gravity of that, at the height of the Cuban Missile Crisis, we were 2 minutes to midnight. If anybody understands what that actually means, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. So 85 seconds is literally less time it takes to boil a cup of tea. And of course, it doesn't mean that there's going to be bombs on us in 85 seconds. It means that the likelihood is moving forwards. The bulletin says that we are at the worst. This is the worst threat we've ever faced. This is not, this is not tabloids, right? This is not CNN or BBC or Sky News or CNBC saying this. These are measured scientists, experts, Nobel Prize winners, who have analyzed the data. They've looked at nuclear threats. They've looked at biological weapons. They've looked at cyber attacks. They've looked at AI. I would say they've also looked at mass migration. They've looked at pandemics. And they are saying that we are 1 minute 25 away from the end of everything. And if that's not enough to get people listening to what's actually happening in the world, I really don't know what is, guys. I don't know what is. Eyeball Paul is saying this is because the beginning of February, the START treaty will not be renewed, letting both sides build medium-range missiles. Yeah. So the START treaty was between the United States and the Americans. I don't know what it stands for, but it was basically the START treaty was where they can both go and inspect each other's weapons. Now that's over. I don't think actually that was ever ratified by the Americans. I'm pretty sure that wasn't ratified by the Americans, but the Jolly Man is saying Einsteinian relativity concepts only apply when viewing the Earth reference frame from the sun's perspective. No. Einsteinian relative concepts only apply. No, not at all. No, that's totally wrong. That's totally wrong. That's totally wrong, the Jolly Man. Einsteinian relativistic concepts apply constantly in our time frame, at our perspective. Right, I've got a couple of videos to share with you guys. I'm going to go with Katie Hopkins first. I'm going on a little bit of a side quest now. I will come back on track, but I did a video earlier and I was talking about 15-minute cities, right? I was talking about 15-minute cities. Well, hang on. Iran nuclear site rocked by explosions as Trump sparks World War III fears in the Middle East. Hang on. This may be a new live. Jesus, we're literally talking about nuclear Armageddon and Trump's blasting shit. Okay, right. I'm getting this up now. I will accept that. I will accept those cookies because Googly told me to accept those cookies. So Googly, if everything goes off, it's your fault. Right. If I go off, it's Googly's fault. Let me share this with you guys real quick and then I'll close it down and read it. So Iran nuclear site rocked by explosion as Trump sparks World War III fears. So Iran nuclear. Donald Trump has ordered USS Abraham Lincoln destroys to sail toward Persian Gulf. Will crack protesters. Explosion report. Nuclear. Okay. 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 So right, I think this is fake news. Okay. So just for context, I'm going to read you this thing now. The unconfirmed US strike carrier group arrived in the Middle East. Amid reports, Trump is considering launching strikes on Iran, following the country's brutal crackdown on protesters. So straight away in this article, the first thing it says, the unconfirmed blast happened as. So I think it's fake news. I think that whole article is fake news. That's what I think. Let's see what happens. I don't want. That's what they're saying basically. That's what the Mirror is saying as of today, January 27th, 2026. Iran nuclear site rocked by explosion. Then if you scroll down, it says the unconfirmed blast. So if they're not confirming the blast, how are they reporting on it? And then it just talks about the US strike carrier group, and yeah, it's a load of blah, blah, blah. So the headline is absolutely legit. You've got to be, honestly, guys, like we've all got to be careful about what news we digest, and the news that we do digest, we've got to understand, like the duality of those meanings of those words. Donna is saying, it isn't fake news. Alert, it's been confirmed since by Iran. It was a test malfunction. Okay, right. Well, it was a test malfunction then. I do think. Look, guys. I've been quite clear and quite open from over it, like maybe 2 years now, but since 2023 actually. I've been saying since, you know what, I'll give you the exact date. I will give you, ladies and gentlemen, the exact date that I've been telling people that the United States are going to go into Iran. The exact date I first started saying this was the 1st of November, 2023, because they passed that into US law. They passed it into US law, 1st of November, 2023. Right, okay, so Tehran has clarified on the reports of an explosion on one of its nuclear sites. This comes after reports of an explosion at military centers in the Pakdast region. Yeah, I mean, they could be testing things, they could be testing things. If I was Iran, and I'm not, and I'm certainly not Iranian, I would be doing everything I could right now to develop a nuclear weapon. Like, literally, I would be doing everything I could, because that's literally the only thing that's going to save them. Like, look what happened to Ukraine in 1993. Ukraine in 1993 handed over all their nuclear weapons, and they said, look, we don't want to be a threat to anyone. We don't want to be a warring country. We're lovers. We're not fighters. We just want to, drink vodka and eat borscht. And look, guys, I think that's a pretty cool life. But once you give up those weapons, once you disarm yourselves, and what happens on the macro happens on the micro, right? So Ukraine disarmed themselves. The Russians came in. Britain, we're an unarmed nation. We're not armed. We don't have gun laws in the United Kingdom. Well, we do have gun laws. You guys know what I mean, right? It's illegal to have firearms in the United Kingdom. And because it's illegal in the United Kingdom, we literally get a government that can do what they want. Eyeball Paul is saying Iran has a massive missile force with thousands of missiles and drones. This will be This will not be a cakewalk. I don't know. I think it will. It depends how the United States play it. First of all, like a Western military will absolutely steamroll through that country. Absolutely steamroll through that country. The problems will be, and look, guys, I know Pete Hegseth will know this. So I know the Secretary of War will absolutely know this. The problems won't come on the initial invasion. The problems will come afterwards. Like if you guys think of the invasion of Iraq, right? The initial invasion of Iraq, the biggest problem for us when we invaded Iraq was what to do with all the people that were surrendering. Literally, that was the biggest problem, was what do you do with all these? Because you would literally just get people walking up to you, surrendering, and you're like, we're not even fighting. I don't even know what to do. Like, what do you do? And most of the time you would just give them some water and some food and tell them to go. So the problems won't be the initial invasion of Iran. The problems will be if the Americans get bogged down and stay there for any length of time. And by any length of time, I mean anything longer than 3 months. It's going to be, it's going to be difficult for the United States. Right, I've got another video. I've got Katie Hopkins' video to share with you guys. Okay, so earlier on in the day, I was talking about 15-minute cities, and I know I'm going a little bit skew with here. I'm going a little bit of a side mission. Earlier on, I was talking about 15-minute cities. Well, it turns out Katie Hopkins has just articulated this video like absolutely perfectly. Right, so I'm going to share this. Hang on. Right, hang on. Can I share this? Why can't I share this? Yeah, I am going to share this with you, all right? So this is Katie Hopkins. It's not me. It's Katie Hopkins.
Oxford, and this has just been part of 15 minutes of freedom here in the UK. So let me tell you the plan. The plan is in Oxford, and this has just been passed by the council, to divide the city here into the squiggly city into 6 parts. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And you will only have the freedom to operate in the part that you live. So if this is you, the idea is that everybody will live within 15 minutes of the things they need. 15 minutes of a school, 15 minutes of a doctor's, 15 minutes of a supermarket. And if you want to travel to the other zones in your city, or maybe soon your town, you will have to go out an approved route. You will have to journey around the outside of the city in order to re-enter another section of the city. This plan is supposed to be saving the planet. And the idea is that you won't simply be able to cross over into other sections of your city anymore. So if your mother, for example, lived over here, you wouldn't be able to just go across and see her. This would all be done via e-gates, electronic gates, and number plate recognition.
Does this not sound like a dystopian movie? Be honest. Does this not sound like Altered Carbon or like Blade Runner? I love those two. Like, does this not sound like a dystopian movie? Be honest. Oh, I want to see. Name your purpose for being in Sector 2. Oh, I've come to see my mum. Reason not authorized. Oh, God. Move back or be removed and have 6 credits removed. Oh, God, okay.
You in your area will only be allowed within that 15-minute zone that you've been allocated. The number plate recognition will know if you leave your zone. And you can apply for permission, a permit to leave your zone and travel to another zone. But you'll only be allowed to do this about 100 times a year. This is real. I just have to stop and say that.
I think she's absolutely right. For those that look, guys, try and wake people up to what's happening, right? Because I'm sat here and I've been watching the deconstruction and the dystopianization of the world. I have. When I first went and worked at the British Embassy, what was his name? I'm not going to mention his name, actually. he said to the ambassador said to me, "You're now here to oversee the orderly deconstruction of the British Empire. And it looks like we are having the reconstruction of the dystopian empire." Tell me this is not dystopian.
This is actually being passed by Oxford Council. This is happening in the next 2 years, 2024 it begins. And if you use up all your 100 passes that someone designates whether you're allowed to have to go into the different zones, you'll be fined. Your number plate will be recognised. It will observe that you've gone somewhere you're not allowed in your own city, and it will fine you £100 or 80.
So there we are, guys. It looks like 50. That's the plan for 15-minute cities. I mean, you know when you see these dystopian movies like not The Running Man. What's the one with the kids and they have to fight for the food? And they choose two. It's not Hogan's Run. It's not Coogan's Run either. They're in like this city and two people get chosen. There's a girl with a bow and arrow. I don't know what it's called. Look, you're going to be, I bet you're screaming it in the chat right now. I bet you are. I bet you're screaming it in the chat. You know, that's what's here, right? That is what's absolutely here. Can you imagine it? Can you absolutely imagine it? It's crackers. Can you imagine that? You know, you're not allowed to see your mum because she lives in zone 4. Sorry, mum, you either move to zone 3 or we move to zone 4. Oh, well, you don't earn enough money. You don't earn enough money to live in zone 4. Oh, God, right, yeah. Well, do you want to move in zone 3? Oh, God, no, the crime rate's too high. All right, well, see you later, mum. See you later, mum. How about that assisted, you know, the thing that we've said we're going to, oh, Jesus, think about this, right? Think about this, right? Your mum, right, or your nanan, all right, she's poorly in hospital, but you can't get to that hospital. So the guys come with the assisted, you know, the new laws that helps you do something to assist people in doing something that, like, it just happened. And I actually agree with Diane Abbott. Turns out now you can't get to the hospital to sign a piece of paper to say, no, you don't want your mum to assist herself in. You want your mum to be alive. Oh, I'm sorry, it was too late. We just ticked the box, put her in the machine. Oh, no, she's gone now. Bye-bye. Humanity's gone. Humanity is absolutely gone, guys. It has. It's absolutely gone. Right, I've got I've got a Rupert Lowe video as well. I'm going to save Rupert Lowe till the end because, do you know what? I'm not even going to do Rupert. I am not going to do Rupert Lowe. I'm going to do that tomorrow because I think I'm going to do a standalone video on Rupert Lowe because the more I watch Rupert Lowe, I just wish there was more people like that, right? And look, and let me be quite clear. I don't know him. I've never met him. He might be a total douchebag. But what I'm seeing is somebody who's absolutely brilliant. That's what I'm seeing. Somebody who's independently wealthy. They are forthright. They've got their own opinion and their own drive and their own direction. And that's what people follow. That is a leader. That's a leader. All right? Not somebody who buckles, you know, not somebody who buckles to their donors, you know. Oh, I'm a politician and I need to get a donor. Right, okay, I'm gonna give you 100 grand. Okay, right, thanks. Yeah, Sean, yes, mate. Yeah, you know that 100 grand I gave you? Yes. Well, if you want more money, just don't say this, say that, don't do this, do that. Oh, right. Oh, God. So who really, like, oh, right, yeah, I'm the politician, but I'm not really the politician. My donor's in charge. Remember, guys, follow the money. Right. So in Afghanistan, allegedly, and I don't speak Pashto, right? I don't speak Pashto, but allegedly, from what I'm going to share you now, and if anybody speaks Pashto, please throw it out there. Afghanistan's education minister has just announced that girls will be permanently banned from attending school. That's what he's just announced. Now, I don't speak Pashto, guys, so I'm gonna have to say I don't know. This may be wrong, but I'm gonna risk it. I'm gonna risk it for a chocolate biscuit.
پښتنه یې هم داسې ده چې څوک چې پښتنه کوي او غواړي چې داسې یو ځواب ترلاسه کړي چې هغه د ده هغه اراده ورپوره کړي هغه د اوس لپاره.
Yeah, I don't know what he's saying, guys. I don't speak Pashto. But allegedly, Afghanistan, okay, and the reason I'm saying this, Afghanistan have cancelled education for girls, all right? Afghanistan is now being, educate. If you're a girl in Afghanistan, you ain't, you're not getting educated. You've just got to walk around in a burqa. Where's the Free Afghanistan movement? Where's all the liberals on the streets in the United Kingdom? We want girls to have a choice. Afghanistan, that's not the way. Like, where are all those people? Where's all the blue-haired? Where's all the blue-haired women outside the Afghan? I don't know if there is an Afghan embassy. Where's all the blue-haired women on the streets? Afghan girls, we stand with you. You have a choice, and yes, you do. Like, where are they all? Where are they? I don't know. I don't know. Are they waiting for this weekend? Why is the left absolutely silent on this? Why is the left absolutely silent? It's crazy. Donna is saying, Sean, hang on. Right, okay. Breaking news. British Army officer shot and killed during a live firing exercise in Ottoman. Right. This happens more than you would think. Right, let me look at this. Right, okay. This happens more than you think. But I'll have a look at this and I'll see what I can get. Right, I've got it here. Right, okay. So, endearingly, British soldier shot and killed. Right, let me. Hang on. Yeah, I think this was an accident. Look, it happened. Look, I'll read you. I'll share the article. I'll share the article. I will read it, and then I'll give you guys my my analysis of what happens. What this is. British soldier shot and killed during a nighttime live firing exercise named Endearingly Joyful. I don't think his name was Endearingly Joyful. Right. Let me read. Look, guys, I'm doing this in real time. A Royal Artillery officer has been killed during a live fire training exercise in North. Okay, so for those of you guys who don't know, Otterburn is in Northumberland. It's way far north. It's off the I think it's off the A66. Is it off the A? I think it's off the A66. Massive live firing area. It's one of the places you go when you are doing a lot of live firing exercises, because you can fire multiple weapon systems at the same time. So some ranges you can only fire 5.56. Some ranges you can only fire 50 cal or whatever, and the caliber in Otterburn, you can fire a lot of different calibers. So a Royal Artillery officer has been killed during a live firing training exercise in Northumberland. The Ministry of Defence has confirmed. Okay, interesting how this has happened then. Captain Philip Gilbert Muldowney, 25, died on Sunday, 25th of January, during a tactical training. So he was on the ground, okay, with live ammunition on Ottoman. Okay, so, with respect, okay, and I'm not, this is going to sound horrible. With respect, artillery don't use rifles much. That's just the reality, all right? Artillery use artillery. That's what they use. Now, if they were doing a tactical exercise, that to me says that they were using rifles. I don't know. I'm just speculating. The MOD said it was with deep sadness that we confirmed the death of Captain Philip Gilbert Muldowney, sorry, the 4th Regiment Royal Artillery on the 25th of January. Let me jump down. The government has added, our thoughts are with Captain Muldowney's family and his friends. His death marks the 2nd fatal shooting. And it was definitely not the 2nd. And the Northumberland Range in a decade. The incident occurred approximately 8 a.m. at night time. Listen, guys, nighttime exercises are very difficult. They're really difficult. You know, you may be on night vision goggles. And look, if you've never used night vision goggles before, when you play Call of Duty, right? You know when you play Call of Duty, right? And you put your night vision goggles on, it goes pew. Well, first of all, that noise doesn't exist. You click a switch and it turns them on. The problem is, depending on what night vision you're using, your perspective is either there. Well, no, it's there, right? So you normally every day in your life, your perspective is here, right? So you're looking there. When you wear night vision goggles, you get these goggles like that, but the actual lenses are above you. So and slightly to the side as well. And if you get the peripheral vision ones, I've never used the peripheral vision ones, but you know, that gives you peripheral vision. It's still above you. So now it feels like you're a little bit higher up. So moving and walking, it is difficult. And if you're using a monocle, which I know a lot, which he's artillery, so he may have been using a monocle. It's like looking through a toilet roll tube, and that's what they're looking at. So, you know. So his death marks the 2nd fatal shooting at the Northumberland Range in a decade. The incident occurred approximately 8 p.m. during a nighttime exercise alongside elite Scots Guards. Right, okay. So what I'm saying is this guy must have been... Okay, so what happens sometimes is in the exercises, they will say, right, the scenario is now... the artillery's been destroyed and all the artillery guys have to go in with the infantry. And they change things up. You train to excess. You train to failure. Captain Muldowney was reportedly struck in the back while troops were using night vision goggles, I said, and an SA-80 rifle to engage pop-up targets. I said, yeah, to pop-up targets though. Okay, so that must mean they were on... How did that happen? I don't know how that happened, guys. I don't actually know how. They must have been using. Yeah. Okay, so what I'm going to suspect here is, I mean, he may have been safety. I don't know, but look, ladies and gentlemen, right? This is why you guys come on this channel, right? For my granular analysis. Right, look, right at the beginning of that, I got there, right, didn't I? I heard tactical training. So straight away, I said it's small arms, and then I talked about night vision goggles, and then at the bottom, we get Captain Muldowney was reportedly struck in the back while troops were using night vision goggles and SA-80 rifles to engage pop-up targets. So these pop-up targets that they use, they are, then, you know, it's not like you're on a range and there's a flat line and everybody's shooting. You walk up this range, and it's just wild countryside and hills and trees and rivers, lots of water. It's freezing cold. It's probably the harshest environments you could think of. And like the range staff, they will have dug in these targets. And when you get to a certain point, these targets pop up and you have to start shooting. So yeah, that's, you know, that's what we know about that. Fellow emergency medical treatment at the scene, but he died before paramedics could reach the remote range. The metal and wood targets using 4-1 structural rounds. Troops typically wear infrared patches visible through night vision goggles. So this is person that we're wearing bulletproof. Yeah. Look, guys, it happens. It absolutely happens. When you're training for war, when you're using live ammunition, these things happen. So, yes, Donnie, you're absolutely right. British soldiers being shot and killed during a nighttime live firing exercise. Right, I'm going to jump down. James Mack is saying maybe the person went off course and maybe crossfired. That does happen. look, I don't want to speculate on what happened. You know, there's a million and one. You know, there is a million and one different things that could have happened with that incident. I don't think that's anything nefarious. Damned Doberman is saying, I was a chieftain and challenger full crew during my service. Dad was infantry. It's really interesting. You know, when you talk to people who are, when you talk to people who have been like tanks or armor, you know, they always want to go to armor. But when you talk to people who, like myself, who've been infantry, like, I don't want to go anywhere near armor. It's slow. It's heavy. Like, it's not very maneuverable. Like, I would rather be on my feet because you go to what you know, right? Running Bear is saying, yo, look into Stingray technology. It's just one app that they use to get everyone's intel within a 5-mile radius. Yeah, there's lots of things like this. There's lots of things these apps you can buy, and anyone can buy these as well. Anyone can buy these. Right, listen, ladies and gentlemen, let's get back on track, shall we? Let's get back on track. So, Doomsday and nuclear Armageddon, it's official now. You know, we are closer than we have ever been before. Humanity is closer to the end. We are, you know, and that's not me saying it. No, sir, that's not me. That's not my speculation, analysis, or opinion. That is the bulletin of atomic scientists who, since 1947, have maintained a symbolic metric that represents how close humanity is to global catastrophe. Midnight symboling the doomsday. And right now, we are 1 minute 25 to doomsday, 1 minute 25 to midnight, which is the closest we have been in recorded history. And if that doesn't get you guys questioning, you know, questioning global events, I really don't know what will. Right. Dave King is saying the WEF clock is ticking. I'm so scared. Right. Is it the World Economic Forum? I don't know. I don't know. Oh, that's right. Right. I'm going to have to Google this tomorrow, right? Is the World Economic Forum? I don't think the World Economic Forum was Yeast Feast. Big B of BFD is saying Fight Club ending coming soon. Yeah. Well, you know, at the end of Fight Club when everything just collapses. Tim Linsky is saying we got hit with 6 rounds of a race cannon in our Warrior in Canada. All okay. Right, listen, guys, I am going to be closing this down now. I've just looked at the clock. Like I said, the crux of this live stream, right, is the doomsday clocks move forward. Now, some people may pay attention to it. Some people may not. Some people may think it's real. Some people may think it's not. The reality is we are being told, and the perception is that we are moving closer to doomsday. Doomsday is moving closer. Nuclear Armageddon, and it's official now. I'm not making this up. Humanity is closer to the end than ever before. Now, there are the conflicts in Ukraine that I believe it's going to drag the United Kingdom and the West and the Europeans into. There is what's happening in Iran that I believe is going to drag the United States in. And then you've got, I mean, let's not forget, we've got India, Pakistan, we've got Pakistan, Afghanistan, we've got China, Taiwan. Like, the whole world is bonkers right now. And to punctuate that, and as a little Brucey bonus punctuation, we have got mass uncontrolled migration into the West, and this is only happening in predominantly white countries. That's the reality. Now, I don't know who's controlling that. I don't know why. I don't know what. But one of the things I said earlier on the live stream, like earlier on today, we're asking the wrong questions. We're not asking. You know, people are asking, why can't we stop migration? How do we stop migration? That's the wrong question. The right question to ask is why are they here? Because clearly, you know, because clearly there's a reason for these people to come here. Clearly there's some sort of some sort of agenda on the cards. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I don't know the answer to that. But what I do know is that I'm going to be closing this down now, and I will be back on tomorrow morning. Yes, I will. I'll be back on tomorrow morning at 10. I'll be back on tomorrow morning at 10. And until then, ladies and gentlemen, I bid you good evening. And for those of you guys who are having a little bit of a yeast feast to you. And Toll House, hang on, let me get Toll House's comment. Where's Toll House? Toll House is just throwing a comment there. Toll House is saying, with his quality learning center, call me good old-fashioned American. Call me good old-fashioned American. I don't give a damn. And you know what, Toll House? More power to you. And Toll House, I hope you're going to be on tomorrow, and I hope you're going to be on tomorrow at the same time, or maybe even tomorrow in the morning. And I bid everybody good evening.